seen this bird? This is the red-billed chough, one of the many beautiful feathery residents of the Carneddau. There are only 433 breeding pairs in the whole of the UK and the Isle of Man, and of this population, 236 of these pairs are in Wales. That's 55% of the total population. Choughs can be seen right across the Carneddau, from Conwy to Llanfairfechan, all the way down to Bethesda. It's such a great privilege to have these amazing birds here, so it's important to support the conservation of this species in Wales.
There are a number of different habitat types in the Carneddau mountain range, creating a mosaic across the landscape. You will usually see choughs foraging on short grazed grassland and heath. Here, they're searching for soil, ground and dung-dwelling invertebrates. In some areas, these habitat types are becoming dominated by gorse, as you can see here, and also bracken. By knowing where the choughs are foraging in the Carneddau mountain range, we can work hard to maintain these patches of grassland and heath and ensure that they continue to provide foraging opportunities for the choughs across the landscape.
To monitor and record all the chough activity in the Carneddau, we need help. So we're encouraging volunteers to record every chough they see, to build up a better understanding of the habitats they use. What should you capture? Is it a lonesome bird? Or a pair? Is it a flock? Note down how many choughs you see. What are they doing? Are they foraging? Loafing? Flying? Where are you? Your exact location can be obtained in a number of different ways, but the easiest is probably to drop a pin into Google Maps via your phone. These numbers are the longitude and latitude of your location. And finally, add the date and time of your sightings.
If you're out looking for choughs and you've got a pair of binoculars, a scope or a decent lens on your camera, you might see that the choughs are wearing colourings. These colourings have been put on by Adrian Stratford and Tony Cross as part of a long-term study over the last 30 years. You'll find each chough is wearing 1 metal ring and 3 colourings. As you can see here, Charlie has red over yellow on the right leg and yellow over metal on the left leg. It's really useful if you can report choughs wearing colourings because it gives us a unique insight into their life. For example, we can find out how far birds are travelling from their nesting sites during the breeding season, and also we can find out if individual birds are favouring patches of habitat. This is really important because if the birds are returning to the same areas, we need to ensure that that habitat is maintained for them.
So, no matter whether you're bird watching, out on a ramble, or just walking the dog, be part of the Chough Network and help us learn more about these beautiful birds and what we can do to help grow their numbers. So if you see a chough, record a chough. You can email all your chough sighting data to vrangoesgoch@gmail.com. And when sharing your chough photos on social media, remember to use the hashtag ChoughNetwork.